Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Tabitha. You can call me Tapper Taps. I am the maker and creator behind Safari Stitches, and I do a lot of market prep, market vlogs, week in the life, crochet with me, chat and crochet, all sorts of really fun stuff. So if that's your kind of vibe and you would like to, please hit the subscribe button and make sure to like and add a comment below and introduce yourself if you are new. This week we are in final market prep mode for my big market coming up this weekend, November 16th. It is a 9-hour long market. This is the longest market I've ever done. Usually my markets are 4 to 5 hours long depending on where they are. So this is going to be a big one. I feel very unprepared. I have a lot of inventory. But I also have a lot to get done this week, so if you've been following along and if you've been watching my videos, you know I make really long market prep lists. The reason being I'm a big mood crocheter, so I like to have a long list to choose from because you never know what I'm going to be in the mood to crochet. And we've had a very productive market prep, I guess the last couple of weeks. This whole pile is stuff that has been photographed and videoed and is ready to be tagged and added to my square inventory. This morning I am working on adding faces to my bees and my pickles, and I have an elephant snuggler to add faces to. And then when I finish that, my main focus is going to be this chunk right here, my chubby birds. They're my best sellers. This is how many I want to make of each one. So I have chickens, penguins, mallards, and white ducks to make. The white ducks were my best seller at my last market, so I have a lot more to restock on those. The rest, I'm making 5 of each. That is going to be what we work on next. I have all my yarn set over here for when I'm ready, but for right now we are going to just work on getting faces added to my plushies that are completed, get them added to my bin to get ready to be tagged and photographed, and then we will see what we get up to for the rest of the day. I also have a very busy day, or very busy week at work this week, so it's going to be a little tricky to get things done, but hopefully we can get it done. I would like to be finished with like market prepping and just kind of, I guess, crocheting. I would like to be done with all of it by Friday so that I can go through my bags of inventory and just make sure everything that I have and I'm taking with me is uploaded to my square and ready to go. I'm already good on my booth display. I don't need to do a mock setup this week because I've done the same setup for the last 2 markets and I really like the way that it turns out. So we're just gonna stick with what we know. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm really hoping that we can get plenty of stuff made this week. Once I finish with the chubby birds, my biggest focus is going to be on the snugglers because they make really great gifts, and I am sold out of a lot of snugglers. I need to make some bears. Of the Mama Made minis, I need to make bears, cows, foxes, a mouse, and I think that's it for those. And then I really want to make another zebra snuggler, but I do have one zebra snuggler, so I'm not that pressed about that. But the other thing that I really want to market prep is some smaller turtles. So I had a small turtle last week that was about this big. My normal sea turtles are, it's Crochet by Jenna's sea turtle, and they are one of my best sellers, but I had a smaller version of my sea turtle, and it was, I think I sold it for $15. It was the first thing to go in the first 5 minutes. It went very, very quickly. So I want to make some of those. I'm really, really hoping I have time to make some. So we will see, but I was going to make some Grinches for this upcoming market, Again, I just don't know that I have time to make all of this, unfortunately. So we might have to save the Grinches for my next Christmas market on December 3rd, which is fine. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm a little overwhelmed, as I said. The week leading up to a big market like this is always very stressful for me, especially because I'm coming off of another big market from, I think, 3 weeks ago now. I'm still restocking stuff from that market that I didn't have a chance to restock. So we've got a lot going on. So yeah, that is enough rambling for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on these faces and get this knocked out. I have a meeting here in 8 minutes, so I'm probably gonna embroider these faces while I'm in my meeting, and then we'll start on the chubby birds and hopefully get a lot of those knocked out today, and then get that knocked off my list. So yeah, that's my update. Let's get started. Hello. Just checking in. It is 4:07. It is quite some time later. It has been a very slow moving day. I've been very busy with work, so I haven't really had a whole lot of time to dedicate to crocheting, which is fine. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because I got a big market this weekend, but I did get well, he doesn't have his feet. I just noticed some of these don't have their feet. These two don't have feet. But I've got, I guess, 3 out of the 5 of the mallards done with their feet. And then obviously 2 without their feet. And I am now working on the white ducks. I have 10 written down. They just finished the second body. I'm very tired of making ducks. Just being honest. They're one of my best sellers, so I'm having a really big mental battle right now on just plugging away at them because it's only 4 o'clock. I could probably finish all of the white ones tonight. Actually, I don't think I have 10. I have 9 down to make, because I think I still have 1 left. But yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm really not feeling it. I'm thinking I might push through and get 5 done, then at least, or maybe 4. Maybe I'll push to get 4 done. That way I have 5 total ready for this weekend. And then I might move on to some of my snugglers, because I'm pretty low on snugglers at the current moment. I sold quite a few. So I'm thinking we will finish 4 of the white chubby ducks. I'm going to put feet on the 2 mallards that are missing the feet. And then I think I might make a Mama Made Minis bear snuggler tonight. I think that is going to be the move. I just need a little bit of a break from the tiny things. For some reason, I'm really finding a lot of joy in making the larger projects. They're just a little bit more satisfying to finish right now, whereas these are just kind of monotonous and repetitive, I guess. I'm not really sure how. I don't think I'm describing my feelings very well. But yeah, I'm getting a little bored of making the chubby birds, and I don't have any chickens or penguins of the chubby birds. These are by, let me wake my computer back up. I believe they're by the Cozy Stitch on Etsy. Hold on. It's loading. Nope, it's locked. Yeah, the Cozy Stitch. The COSY, Cozy Stitch. But it's the Chubby Birdie Buddy pattern. And I bought the pattern pack, so it came with 4 different birds. Comes with a bald eagle, a penguin, a duck, which is the mallard or the white duck, and a chicken. Like I said, I'm getting a little bored making these right now because I've made 5 mallards and now 2 of these ones. So I think I am going to push through. We're gonna get 4 of the white ones completed. I'm gonna put the feet on the last 2 mallards. I'm glad I looked at that because I would have been pretty mad. Hey, did you hear that? She's trying to break in. And then I'm going to move on and I'm going to make a bear snuggler by Mama Made Minis. So I think I might make a black and white panda except without the eye patches because I tried to do the eye patches and when I tell you this thing looked absolutely bonkers, I'm not lying to you. I might have shown it in a previous vlog, but I don't remember. I took the eyes off because they were terrifying. So I think I might make a panda and then I'll probably make, if you're familiar with Bernat Baby Blanket Frosted, there's like a really, really pretty like light brown frosted yarn in that line, and I'll probably make a bear out of that too because it's super soft. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite yarns. So I think that's going to be the move for tonight. I'm going to grab myself a drink and I'm probably going to eat a little early tonight. That might not be the best idea, but it's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to, I'm going to gather all my supplies and I'm going to get myself set up all nice and cozy on the couch. I now have space on the couch to kind of spread out, whereas before I was having to have all of these tubs around me, so I would have my yarn in one tub that I was using, my finished projects in another, and then the ones that still needed details in another. So I had like 3 or 4 different totes that I set around me on the ground, and I would just, it was driving me crazy. So now I have a lot of space on my couch and I can just spread out a little bit. And I don't have to bother my fiance while we're watching TV. We have our own separate sides of the couch. I can keep my stuff out of the way. And I can get a giant blanket and I can get all cozy and comfy and have all my yarn and everything within reach. And yeah, it's like a lazy girl's dream. So all of that to say, I am going to go and get cozy, make myself some yummy, we have soup left over, so I'm gonna get some soup, I'm gonna get some more comfortable pants on, and I'm gonna grab a giant blanket and get all of my supplies, and I'm gonna go and sit and hang out on the couch and get some stuff done. But yeah, that's the move. Feed on 2 mallards and then finish 4 of these guys. Get those done and wrapped up and off of my list, and then I'm gonna move on to bear snugglers, and yeah, that's the plan. Good morning, happy Tuesday. It is currently like 6:15, 6:08 in the morning. I am about to go to work. So I will not get much crocheting done throughout the day today, obviously, because I can't crochet at work. But I wanted to give you an update because I did not touch base last night. I had a late night. I did get all of my mallards done, and then I got 4 of the white ducks done, which I think I mentioned I already have 1, so now I have 5 total finished, which I'm happy with. At least for now. If I have time, I'll make the last 5, but 5 for now is good. And then I got started on my Mama Made Minis bears, and I have a brown and speckled head and a gray and cream head. So I'm gonna work on those later tonight when I get home. I would like to get at least 1 finished completely tonight and then finish the other one tomorrow, and then I'm not sure, I'm probably going to continue working on snugglers just because they are a larger item and they sell pretty well for me, and I'm expecting them to do fairly well this coming weekend. So that is kind of the plan. I'm a little overwhelmed. I feel like I don't have enough inventory, which is weird to say, but like I'm doing double the length of market, basically doing 2 markets in a day. So I'm just a little stressed about it. I'm sure it'll be fine, but you know, if you do markets, you know the week leading up to a big market is a little stressful and overwhelming. So we will be fine. We're gonna get there, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on when I get home tonight, and I will see you guys later. Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. It is November 14th, 7:22 a.m. I fear it has been a few days, a couple of days, I believe, since I last updated you. I've been battling a little bit of burnout this week. That doesn't mean that I have not been working, because I have. I've also been very busy at work this week, so it's been a little bit more difficult to get things done. But I think I showed the heads the last time I updated, but I did get the bear snugglers made. So I've got these, this is the Burnett Frosted with baby sand, and then the cream and gray. I love the cream and gray. Now obviously I still need to embroider the nose and put the eyes on, but they're made at the very least. So I got 2 of those done. I kind of wish I had only done 1, because I'm running out of time to restock at least 1 of each item. But I also got a little fox done last night. So I got him finished. Again, needs his nose and his eyes, but super cute. So I did get that done. Goal today, so it is Thursday, my tester call for my fox pattern closes in 4.5 hours, and I will have to pick testers for that. And I haven't written the pattern up yet. It's typed out on my notes app on my phone, which, I mean, at least it's there. So I need to, that is priority number 1 today, is getting all of that information into Canva and start formatting my pattern and just kind of get that ready to go for later today or possibly tomorrow. I also need to make another fox, another one of my foxes, so that I can get pictures where needed. That is gonna be my biggest priority at the current moment, is getting that done. A little overwhelmed. I just have a lot to get done, and I know that this pattern is time consuming, but I committed to it and I want to get it done. I want to start designing patterns more. I've already got my next pattern in the works. Priority is getting my pattern typed up. So I think I'm gonna jump over to Canva and I'm gonna work on that right now. And then after that, I'm gonna start making, there's only like a handful of things that I absolutely have to get photographed. And yeah, so I'm thinking if I can just like start working on it and then just start taking photos as I go, getting them uploaded to Canva, and then hopefully I can get that knocked out today, and that way when I choose my pattern testers, they don't have to wait on me to to get the pattern, so they can get started. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say right now. Like I said, I'm battling a little bit of burnout. I think I took on a little bit too much. I should have probably waited on my new pattern, but I was just so excited and I love him so much. I just couldn't wait. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm gonna get started on typing up my pattern, and then I will check back in with you guys when I start making the last fox so I can get photos and everything. Alright, so I wanted to just kind of show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes of what it looks like on Canva. I do pay for Canva. It's pretty pricey. I pay the yearly, like the annual subscription, so I can have access to all of the pro features and everything. So you may not be able to find some of this stuff in Canva if you have a free account. Just wanted to give that little disclaimer, just So if you go looking for some of this stuff, if you can't find it, that's probably why. So I use Canva, like I said, and I usually do an 8.5 by 11 PDF, which is just a standard sheet size paper. And I do make my PDFs all pretty, but I do also include, when I post my patterns for sale, I include a printer friendly version that doesn't have all of this crazy color. So it's basically just text and images. This is obviously the digital version so that you can download it and pull it up on an iPad or a computer or your phone or whatever and use it, and it'll be pretty and colorful. I went with a forest theme, like a green forest theme for my Flynn the Fox. So I've got this is my main cover photo. This was a Canva template for a flyer, and I've just changed the colors to fit more of my theme. I have the title, and then I included low sew on the front page because it is a low sew pattern. We've got the main photo here. I've got my copyright down here at the bottom, and then it states it's a digital PDF download. I put digital PDF download everywhere that I possibly can because some people get confused and they buy a pattern thinking that it's a finished item, and so I always have that everywhere in the PDF, as well as on the listing. Like my main listing photo will have digital download only, etc., etc. So then we go to the next page, and I just have a little blurb, list the materials that are needed, abbreviations that are included in the pattern, and then just some general pattern notes. And again, my copyright information is put on every single sheet, and then obviously we get into the pattern. So that is kind of my process for writing patterns. I'm just getting everything formatted the way that I want it, and yeah, it's been about an hour, 30 minutes, well, no, about 45 minutes probably, and I've got 1, 2, 3 pages done. I'm about to work on the 4th page now, so but I am also leaving spots where I want to insert images, so I've got some pictures that I need to take. That is where I'm at. Hey guys, just checking in. It's 10:45. The pattern is fully typed up, it's formatted the way that I want it, and I've got all of the spaces for all of my pictures. So I am in the process of making another fox so I can get my pictures pulled together for the pattern. Whew. Okay, you guys. It is 4:03 in the afternoon. It has been a long day. I have been stressed to the max trying to get this pattern done. I was so desperate to get my add-on, or I guess a modification or whatever, included in the pattern. So I had to make a whole new, I thought I was just going to be able to work up to where the arms got attached and then just set this aside and go back to market prepping. But I had to finish him because I needed to do the add-on on the front, the modification to his overalls. And honestly, I am so freaking glad that I did, because I want to cry looking at him because he's so cute. He doesn't have ears or a nose, so just ignore that because I'm putting him aside for right now. But look at his little overall flap. It's so cute. Sorry, it's getting a little bit blown out by the lighting in here for whatever reason, but look how cute he is. And I love the burgundy with the fox orange. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he doesn't have ears or a nose at the current moment because I'm setting him aside to work on some other projects. Good morning. Happy Friday. We are officially on the day before my market. I did not get any footage last night because between panic prepping and my dogs not leaving me alone, it was just really not sustainable for filming. My camera probably would have taken a dive to the floor last night. My dog was wired. Sadie was. So I'm giving you a quick update. I did get 2 things made last night. The first one is this mini Maeve. I think it's Maeve. I believe it's Maeve is the name. This is by Mama Made Minis, and it's one of the smaller snugglers. And I made it in this really cute gray and white variegated blanket yarn, and then just the pink and the pink. Obviously she still needs eyes, so we're gonna add that to my pile to get done later. And then I made one turtle. Again, I'm embroidering the eyes on this guy too. But this is a no-sew pattern. It is free. I will link it below. But it's by the Friendly Red Fox. I'll pop it up on the screen when I'm editing, but yeah, so I've got one turtle made. I would like to get 3 of these made, I think. I've already picked out some colors, so I think that's what I'm going to focus on this morning, is getting the last 2 made of this guy. I love that it's no sew, so I don't have to worry about sewing the head on, and I can just work it until I finish it. We're getting there, guys. We are getting there. In 36 hours, we will be done with this market because it ends at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So 36 hours from now, we will be packing up and going home. My brain is just complete mush right now. I don't really know. It's almost decision fatigue, if that makes sense. Like, I have so much I need to get done. Like, I just remembered I need to go and plug in all my fans and my battery pack, because 9-hour market with one cell phone, probably not gonna go very well. So I need to make sure that that's charged. I'm gonna go do that now before I forget, because I will forget. I don't know. I just keep thinking of things that I need to get done, and then I'm also like surrounded by some mess that I really want to clean up. Like, I got all of this cleaned up over the weekend, last weekend, so at least behind me it looks okay. But yeah, seeing all of this on the floor from where I've been going through stuff is kind of stressing me out. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get 3 total of these guys done to take with me tomorrow, and then if I have time later tonight, I'm gonna make ear warmers, because I only have 2 ear warmers right now, because I sold quite a few at my last market. So I think that's gonna be the move, is just fill whatever time I have left making ear warmers, because again, I can make the ear warmer here on my knitting machine, and then I can take it with me tomorrow and finish it while I'm at the market, and then put it on the table. So that's kind of my goal today, is finish stuff that I can't finish tomorrow while I'm at the market, here today while I'm at home. And then obviously when I get done with all of that, I'll start to finish all of these items that I need to finish, but at the very least I can take them with me tomorrow. So that's a little bit less stressful, I guess. I'm gonna go now because I've been rambling for 8 minutes again, and I need to get started on getting my stuff done. So.
Old memories fade. I walk alone through this empty parade. Night falls so slow. Stars don't glow anymore. Heart feels hollow. In my mind, you still shine bright. Lost in time, hold you tight. Silent whispers haunt me softly every night, chasing shadows gone from sight.
Good morning, it's market day. We're ready to go. Just waiting on my fiance to make her way down here. The sun is very bright, but it's very cold. I'm very excited. This is a 9-hour market today, so it goes from 10 a.m. is the starting time. It is currently about 7:30. We are leaving, setup starts at 8, so we're gonna grab a quick bite to eat and some coffee and head over there, and then it goes until 7. So wow, this is bright, and that is not great for footage. Oh, it's not too bad. So I'm gonna grab some footage of us setting up if I can. I brought my tripod, so I will check in with you guys as the day goes. All right, we're here. We have a pretty good spot. The stage is right there, and there's gonna be a bounce house right next to us, so I'm kind of excited to see what happens. I'm gonna try and get some footage of us setting up, but I don't know how well that's gonna go. So. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm gonna try to talk really loud over the generator. We are literally right next to the bouncy house, the inflatable. It's very loud. We have had a total of 8 transactions so far for a total of $347 in sales. And we are about 2 hours in. We started at 10, it is now 11:58. So it hasn't been too bad, it's been pretty good. My best sellers so far are the snugglers. I've sold quite a few snugglers so far. I'm trying to look. Yeah, I've sold 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like 5 snugglers so far. Let's see. 6 snugglers. I've sold 6 snugglers so far, and that's a lot. I mean, so my work is going to be cut out for me for my next Christmas market, but that is my update for right now. Probably not going to record a whole lot since I can't really hear anything. I'm hoping the generator's not too loud and I don't have to scrap this footage. But yeah, that's it so far. Hi guys. Yesterday was crazy. I hate that I wasn't able to get any footage, but we were literally set up next to the inflatable, like one of those obstacle course inflatables, and they had a generator going with 2 air blowers, and it was just so loud. So I couldn't really get anything without having to scream into the camera, and it's just, trust me, you didn't want to listen to it. I had to hear it for 9 hours, so. Just for a quick breakdown, so this was a Christmas market, and it went from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. Setup started at 8, so it was a very, very long day. I'm exhausted. I haven't had a market that long in a very long time. Was it worth it? Absolutely. It was worth it. It was so crazy. It was just like constant people at the tent. Lots of like larger purchases, like multiple item purchases. I'm gonna go through each transaction here shortly. This was my best market by a landslide of the year. I will absolutely be doing this market again next year. I am also going to plan a lot better because I have a market coming up in just over 2 weeks, December 3rd, and I am now going to have to panic prep for 2 weeks to get caught up again. And I'm not going to be able to get caught up between work and everything else. So I'm still trying to work through the priorities for the next market. But before I get to that part, let's talk, okay? I hope you're sitting down because I don't think this is fully sunk in for me yet. But yesterday we did, are you ready? Drum roll. We did $1,795 in sales. We were $5 away from hitting $1,800. So essentially we were doing about $200 in sales per hour, which is absolutely mind-blowing. We had 61 total transactions. The average sale was $29.43. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And here's the breakdown. So card transactions, we had $1,384, and then cash transaction, which is physical cash as well as Venmo, was $545.97. And I paid $40.14 in fees to Square for the credit card transactions, and my net total was $1,890.13. So that includes the fees as well. So it was insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, the total collected was $1,900. So that's before the fees and all of that stuff was taken out. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? I don't really understand it because it says, let's just show you the screen. So it's got $1,795 as my gross sales, but down here, total collected was $1,930. And net total, so I don't know. Either way, holy moly, insane day. So, bestseller, again, by a landslide, were my baby bees. If you want a pattern for it, I have it linked below. It is my pattern, it's free. I sold 16 of those yesterday. 16. And then I sold, the next bestseller was my possums. I sold 9 out of the 10 of my small possums. And then after that I sold 6 pickles, 6 loaf cats, and then I had a bunch that I sold like 4 of. So I sold 4 big ghosts. I was running a deal on the ghosts and pumpkins for buy 2 get 1 free, just to try and clear my stock out a little bit, and they're smaller, so I don't really mind giving one for free because they don't really take me that long anyways, and I don't really want to store all of it for next year. So I sold 4 big ghosts. I sold 4 of my big squishy octos and 4 cow plushies, and then I sold so many snugglers, it was crazy. I'm gonna go through everything, but total items sold yesterday were 90. I sold 90 items yesterday, which is just mind-blowing. I think back in April at my previous best, so my second best market of the year, I sold 70, I think. That was the most I sold, and that was in a 4 or 5, I think it was 5-hour market, and I made $1,200 at that market. So this show, I sold slightly more items, but the ratio shows me that I sold more high-priced items at this market versus the spring one where I sold more smaller items. So, that said, we're going to go through the transactions here. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly just because there's, I think, 61 of them. So I don't want to bore you guys to death, but so our first transaction wasn't until 10:20, so we were already 20 minutes in to the market, and we sold a buck snuggler, and I sell those for $38, but I think I'm probably going to up that to $40. And then the next transaction was an $18 hatching chick. The organizer bought that. The next one was a big octo for $15. The next transaction was a cow plushie and a mini cow snuggler. And those were, the cow plushies are $32 and the cow snuggler was $30. Next was a leggy frog for $12 and a big octo for $15. Then the next one was a possum for $12. The next transaction, which this is 11 o'clock, so we are now an hour in, was a frog snuggler for $38 and a cow snuggler for $45. The next transaction were 2 snugglers, and this was bought by the guys that were setting up the inflatables. He bought my Yeti snuggler for $45 and a large fox snuggler for $45. Then the next transaction was half an hour later. We went half an hour without anything. And it was for a jellyfish for $18 and a leggy frog for $12. The next one was, again, another 30 minutes later. Like, it was so weird, the sporadicness, but it was like constant flow of people, if that makes sense. But this was at 1 o'clock was the next transaction, and it was a Della duck for $35. The next transaction was my first big one for the day. No, it wasn't. I lied. My brain is not firing on all cylinders right now. I'm still half asleep, but I finally sold my last large dino. I can't sell dinos. They just don't sell well for me, except for, I used to do well with the snugglers, but not so much anymore. But I sold a large dino for $25, a panda bear snuggler for $45, and a loaf cat for $25. Then next was a chubby bird, which the white chubby bird for $15, and then they took advantage of my buy two get one free for my ghosts, and they got 3 ghosts for $20 total. Because I sell the small ghosts for $10 a piece, so they got 2 of those for $20. Then the next one was my Winnie the Pooh snuggler finally sold. I've had Winnie the Pooh for 2 or 3 months now, and I was so sad that nobody wanted him because I love Winnie the Pooh, and somebody finally bought him for $45. I think it was because he didn't have any eyes. And then we sold a mini anchor for $40. Next was a cow plushie for $32. And then the one after that was a mallard chubby bird and a kid's pom-pom crochet beanie for $25. The next transaction was a yellow baby bee. This was the first baby bee we sold of the day. They did not start selling until about halfway through the market. Actually, no, it wasn't quite half, but it was pretty far in. But those are $10. I think that was the first bee, yeah. Which usually they go pretty quick, but that was at 2 o'clock. So yeah, it actually was just about halfway. Let's see, I just lost my spot. The next transaction was a medium whale for $15 and another baby bee for $10. Then we sold the second and last anchor, mini anchor that I made last week. This was the first one that sold was the blue with the lime green underneath, and then the second one was the rainbow one, and that sold for $40. And then I had a very exciting transaction. The next transaction was a big one, but they bought a mallard Della duck, a pickle. The mallard Della duck was $35, the pickle is $12, and somebody bought my Halloween dragon with the pumpkin on his sweater for $45. I was so excited and I told her, I'm so glad somebody else likes him as much as I did, because I was so sad that he didn't find a home. And she was like, oh my gosh, I literally am obsessed with him. So I was really excited about that transaction. The next transaction was a $25 loaf cat. And then another person took advantage of the buy two get one free for the pumpkins, and they got a large pumpkin and a small pumpkin, and then I think they got 2 small pumpkins, and that was $25 total. The next person also took advantage of the buy two get one, and they got 2 ghosts and a medium pumpkin for a total of $25, I think. Sorry. No, $27. The next transaction was one of my small turtles that I made last minute last week for $18, and it was the one with the brown, the rusty brown body. That was the first one to sell. And then the next transaction were 2 baby bees for $20. And then the second small turtle sold soon after that with a pickle for $30. The next transaction was a $30 sea turtle, and then we sold another possum for $12. And then another baby bee for $10. This was a green one. The deer snuggler went very quickly as well for $45, because I've been experimenting with not putting embroidered eyes on them and just making them more minimalist, and I was noticing that those were starting to get passed over at my market and people were buying the ones with eyes, so I started pulling the ones that I didn't have eyes on, and I was putting eyes on while I was at the market, and I would put them back out and they would immediately sell. So I think in my area people prefer the snugglers with eyes versus without. The next transaction was a small possum for $12. And then we're now at 4 o'clock, so this is 6 hours into the market. The next one was a chicken for $15 and a pickle for $12. And then another bee, and this was a pink bee. The next one was another white chubby duck for $15. And then at about 4:30, it was another baby bee, and this was a blue one, along with a loaf cat for 25. Then we sold a sea turtle. Do I mark? I do. It was a pink sea turtle. I'm almost out of sea turtles too. I am so stressed, you guys. I'm gonna give you guys a rundown after I'm done going through the transactions, but the next one was a small possum for 12 and a loaf cat for 25. Did I already say that? I don't think so. Then another loaf cat sold for 25. We had another big octo sell for 15. And then another pickle for 12 and a possum for 12. For 20, like a total of 24. Then we sold another hatching chick for 18. And then we sold 2 rainbow baby bees and a blue bee all in the same transaction for a total of $30. Now we're at 5 o'clock. So we have 2 hours left at this point. And I sold another possum for 12 and then a chubby bird for 15. Next was a big octo for 15 and a cow plush for 32. And then another baby bee. This one was purple. We sold a dino snuggler, the pink dino snuggler. I've had the pink one probably since, I want to say I had that back in April or May. I've had that one for a long time, and somebody finally loved it and bought it for 45. I probably won't be making another pink one. Dinosaurs are just really hard for me to sell here. I don't know why. Excuse me. Now we're at 5:30 and we sold a $12 possum. And then another baby bee in yellow. And then another possum for 12. Then we sold just a single big ghost for 15. She didn't want to take advantage of the deal. She didn't have anybody else that she wanted to buy one for, so. Then the next transaction was 1 pink and 1 blue bee for $20 total. And then we have this sweet little boy. I say little boy, he was probably 14, 15. He came up and he asked me, he was like, what would you recommend for a 6-year-old little girl? She loves pink and cute animals. And I was like, well, what's your budget? And he was like, I can't go over $30. So I was like, okay, well, and I showed him on the table, and he ended up buying, and it was his little sister for Christmas. It was so sweet. But he ended up buying her a large rainbow bee for 18. It was so sweet. That melted my heart. And then I sold a squid for 25. I don't sell very many of the squids. I'm not going to be restocking them. For some reason, people just don't like them. And I'm wondering if it's a seasonality thing. I didn't really have them over the summer. I started having them in August, I think, is when I made those. So I think I just kind of missed the train on that one. All right, we're coming down to it. So that was at 6. Then we sold another $12 pickle for 12, a cow plush for 32, a pickle, and a chunky frog. So then we got like a wave of people like towards the end. I'm assuming they probably finished eating dinner because the shopping complex we were in, there were a bunch of restaurants. So, but we sold a pickle for 12 and a chubby frog. I've had that chubby frog for ages, so I'm really glad it finally sold. But I sold that for 15. And then we had another possum. So another possum for 12, and then another person took advantage of the buy 2 get 1 free on the ghosts, and they bought 3 of the big ghosts for $30 total. And then the last and final transaction was about 20 minutes before the end of the market, and it was a loaf cat for 25 and a small ghost for 10. It has been 18 minutes. That was a lot of transactions. And on top of all of that, I met some wonderful people last night, vendors and customers alike, and I gained a lot of followers on social media. Like my Instagram, people were scanning my QR code and following me on Instagram, which I've never once had happen at a market. I think I've had one person at a market actually follow me on Instagram. So I had a handful of people scanning, because like, I don't know if you've watched one of my last market vlogs. When I got the new banner, I have a QR code on either side of my banner so that people coming from either direction can scan the QR code. I'm so glad I did that. So if you want a tip, that is a tip that I'm going to give you. If you do markets and you put a banner on the front of your tent, have a QR code, the same QR code on either side of your banner so people can see it coming from either direction. Literally, everybody would be walking by and they would just be like scanning the QR code as they walked by, and it was just such a neat experience. And we had the Grinch was running around, which was kind of fun, and it was a dance studio was putting on, like, all of the age groups were doing a little Christmas dance to Christmas music. We couldn't really hear the music because of the generator right next to us, so I kind of missed out on the repeating music. But overall, I'm overflowing. I think it's like finally sinking in. So just this kind of stuff, this is embarrassing. But this kind of stuff makes me a little emotional because it validates my passion almost, which I don't really need validation to be passionate about something, but like, it's one of those things, it's just kind of a nice, I guess, pat on the back, like, hey, like, people actually like your stuff, you know? So I'm just kind of, I guess, overflowing in gratefulness today, for sure. And it'll be even higher tomorrow when Square sends that money to my bank account. So, because we have a lot of projects that we've got to pay for, so this is very much needed right now. But yeah, it was a really, really good day, just overall, not even just like from the sales, which the sales were spectacular. I mean, I could not have asked for it to be any better, but just the experience overall was just so lovely. Like, it was so easy. The coordinator was super organized. They knew exactly where everybody was. Everybody literally pulled their car in, unloaded, and moved their cars, so nobody was getting blocked in, nobody was getting blocked out, like couldn't get to their space to set up. They had food, they had like alcoholic drinks as the evening went on, so I got like a really nice like sangria slushy. I didn't drink the whole thing because I just wanted to try it. But it was so, I don't know, it was just such a lovely experience. I will definitely be doing this market again next year. I'm gonna put it in my calendar now. I don't know the exact date, but I'm gonna write like in November the name of the market so I remember to check for it. But yeah, I'm overflowing with joy today. So it was a good day. It was a really good day yesterday. I'm pretty excited. And if you have stuck around this long, thank you so much. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, tap the thumbs up button on this video to say you like it and you want to keep seeing this kind of stuff. I love recording these videos. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to get a whole lot of footage yesterday. Trust me, the generator was a lot. Your eardrums would be going through some motions. If I included the only clip that I took towards the beginning of the market, you'll know what I had to deal with the rest of the day. So it was a lot, but I had a really good day. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really glad I did it. I did pay $100 to be at this market, which is the most I've ever paid. I usually pay around $50. I think $50 is the highest I've ever paid to be at a market. So it was, I was a little nervous paying that kind of money because you never really know how a market is gonna go. I mean, I'm friends with one of the vendors and she recommended it to me, and she has so far not led me wrong. So I was still like, $100 is a lot to pay for a space, and so it was a little nerve-wracking, but it obviously went super, super well. So all of that to say, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming on this adventure with me, and I hope you guys are ready because the next 2 weeks are gonna be panic prepping. I have a crap ton of stuff to make over the next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna need all the accountability that I can get so that I stay on task. And after we hit those last 2 weeks, I can take a break. So I've just gotta like crank it out for the next couple of weeks, and then we can take a nice break and work on some other stuff like my blanket, and I want to break out my laser engraver. I'm hoping to release stitch markers after this upcoming thing, and I haven't done a sneak peek of the stitch markers yet, but stitch markers are coming. I'm hoping to post a little sneak peek on my Instagram in the next like week or so. So if you're not following me on Instagram, go jump over there, because that's where I keep most of my stuff up to date, or at least I try to. But yeah, that is all for me this week. I'm gonna close out this video now because I've got to start editing it so I can get it out tomorrow. But thank you guys again for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.